Welcome to Spedal's podcast. This is my fourth podcast in which I've added some of my tin whistle playing. The following is my most popular editorial, which is even more pertinent today after Nicola Sturgeon's conference speech, which you'll find on my YouTube channel, which is on smedham.blog. This is followed by my rendition of James Clarence Mangan's most famous poem, My Dark Rosaline, and I'll finish off with my performance of the Rose and Dew on the Lodi whistle, a tune that was played at both my parents' funeral on the Julian pipes by Patrick McNulty. But for Scottish independence and Irish unity, the relationship between Scotland and Ireland has never been far from my thinking. I am an offspring of a Scottish mother, Isabel, and an Irish father, Freddie. Both of them left the Catholic Church and theism for atheism and became revolutionaries in that they were deeply influenced by the events surrounding the Russian Revolution. I would term them gut socialists that in their own experience of life led to socialist ideas, not the dry reading of theory. The poetry of the Communist Manifesto was powerful enough in itself. Even today, it's a striking call for human liberation. Freddie was a propagandist. I often saw him as a one-man political party. He never waited for any party line. It was him, more than my mother, who was very well read working-class woman, had more than a working knowledge of both Scottish and Irish culture and history. It was his life. He produced a novel, many plays and numerous poems. That I will leave this for another day. I am only trying to relate the importance of the subject matter in my life. There are core similarities between Scotland and Ireland that are not merely have to do with the Gaelic language and its traditions. Frederick Engels, in his Origins of the Family, Private Property and the State, points to the structure of the clan system, and even to mother right, their goods were passed along through the female line. The relative closeness of primitive socialistic economic structures which bypass much of the feudalism that had developed in England for centuries, and for a time both systems coexisted, caused John Maclean, the pioneer of Scottish socialism, to create the slogan, "Back to communism, forward to communism." In my own studies of the Gaelic language, I found there is no basic concept of ownership. Like the Red Indians, who could not grasp, at least initially, the idea of land ownership that was alien to their thinking. The Gaels do not have possessive terms like my, his, or hers. They say things are at, on, or by. That's indeed one of the charms of learning the native tongue. The beauty of Celtic culture is the stuff of legend. In this it shares much with other Aboriginal nations. However, like large swaths of Aboriginal culture, it shares a great tragedy that has led to the diaspora. We can find pockets of Irish and Scots all over our planet, both the Irish famine and the Highland clearances being prime culprits. Some of the saddest and most angry writing in the world's poetry and song reflect these events. Not to mention other forms of literature, there are many great plays and novels on these themes. Another aspect of Irish and Scottish history has been the old alliance with France, in which successive rebellions against the British Empire added misery to misery through failure and partial victories, but not without some impressive heroism that has become a huge cultural force in the rise of the national consciousness in both Ireland and Scotland. This is a cultural backdrop to both countries' relationship with Europe. It may not explain the pro-European affinities of both these Celtic nations, but it cannot be dismissed as an influence. There is a radical influence of the French Revolution and its slogan, "Fraternity, Equality and Liberty," which still haunts the financial oligarchies of this earth. The European Union, ever more usurped by neoliberalism, has moved to the right, with the notable exception of Portugal, which has implemented some anti-austerity measures. European states do not all use the same single social model, but welfare states in Europe do share several broad characteristics. These generally include a commitment to full employment, social protection for all citizens, social inclusion, and democracy. Examples common among European countries include universal healthcare, free and higher education, strong labour protections and regulations, and generous welfare programmes in areas such as employment, insurance, retirement, pensions, and public housing. Austerity is damaging this social model, but even in Greece, it is at least ostensibly what is being rebuilt. This social model contrasts with the American way of life, which is a much weaker commitment to the welfare state. The so-called special relationship between the UK and the US has been criticised because many of US neoliberal policies are permitted to Europe by this route. There is a great fear that Brexit will be used as a cover to allow whole-scale privatisation of the NHS in England, which will do untold damage to the funding of the health service both in Scotland, Wales and the 6 counties of Northern Ireland. This sterile debate about the EU has its root in the Irish border. Both the Tories and the Labour Party want to leave the single market and have frictionless borders. Essentially, they want to stay in the single market and leave it at the same time. Traditionally, England's difficulty has been Ireland's opportunity. Scotland too can take advantage of this historic moment. Both Sinn Féin and SNP are looking for referendums. Sinn Féin is calling for a referendum on Irish unity. SNP are saying that leaving a single market is a coup for Scottish independence. I agree. There is no doubt in my mind that a hard Brexit will be an economic disaster and break the law when it comes to the Good Friday Agreement. Arguing that the EU is merely a capitalist club, just corrupt as the UK, is like not seeing the wood for the trees. The EU is the world's biggest trading partnership, and if we leave, it will leave the UK competing with the EU. That is utterly insane from a capitalist point of view. Socialism is a relatively weak force on our planet. We have a long distance to go before we have the basis of a needs-based, democratically planned world economy. What will help is a Scotland and a united Ireland fighting for a truly social Europe, as Lenin said, and it doesn't make it sacrosanct. Politics is the art of the possible.
Dark Rosaline by James Clarence Mangan. O my dark Rosaline, do not sigh, do not weep, the priests are on the ocean green, they march along the deep. There is wine from the royal pope upon the ocean green, and Spanish ale shall give you hope, my dark Rosaline, my own Rosaline. Shall glad your heart, shall give you hope, shall give you help and hope, my dark Rosaline. Over hills and through dales I have roamed for your sake. All yesterday I sailed with sails, on river and on lake. The Erne, at its highest flood, I dashed across unseen, for there was lightning in my blood, my dark Rosaline, my own Rosaline. Oh, there was lightning in my blood, reds lightened through my blood, my dark Rosaline. All day long, in unrest, to and fro do I move. The very soul within my breast is wasted for you, love. The heart in my bosom faints to think of you, my queen, my life of life, my saints of saints, my dark Rosaline, my own Rosaline, to hear your sweet and sad complaints, my life of love, my saints of saints, my dark Rosaline. Woe and pain, pain and woe, are my lot, night and noon, to see your bright face clouded so, light to the mournful moon, but yet will I rear your throne again in golden sheen. This is you shall reign alone, my dark Rosaline, my own Rosaline. This you shall have the golden throne. This you shall reign and reign alone, my dark Rosaline. Over dews and over sands I will fly for your wheel. Your holy delicate white hand shall girdle me with steel. At home with your emerald bowers, from morning dawn till e'en. You'll pray for me, my flower of flowers, my dark Rosaline, my fond Rosaline. You will think of me through daylight hours, my virgin flower, my flower of flowers, my dark Rosaline. I could scale the blue air and could plough the high hills. Oh, I could kneel all night in prayer to heal your many ills. And one beamy smile from you would float like light between my toils and me, my own, my true, my dark Rosaline, my fond Rosaline, would give me life and soul anew, my dark Rosaline. Oh, the urn shall run red with redundance of blood. The earth shall rock beneath her thread, and flames will wrap hill and wood, and gun peal and slogan cry wake many a glen serene, ere you shall fade or ye shall die, my dark Rosaline, my own Rosaline. The judgment hour must first be nigh, ere you can fade or you can die, my dark Rosaline.